Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. We are joined by Eric, Jose, Sleeping Warrior and Travis. Good to have you all.
Hello. What?
Long live Tortuga Earth.
Eric, good to have you.
Hello.
And Sleeping Warrior, hello.
Arwen should be here momentarily. He's just rounding out.
Arwen, oh jolly good.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give it a few minutes then. You all having a great day?
Sort of.
Yes. Just got a fork, so it feels good.
Oh, perfect timing. How you doing, Arwen?
Hi.
Any signs of curvature, gentlemen?
It was
last day?
What?
Any signs of curvature? Just a bit of housekeeping.
Nope.
No.
Any signs of axial rotation?
Of the Earth is right.
Haha, no.
Always, but Ranty's not here, so I don't normally have to qualify it.
Alright.
He'll start talking about his penis or something.
Oh, no, you didn't.
What?
You said penis.
I did. In reference to Ranty.
I didn't realise it was 5 past.
I was giving you a countdown in the pre-show, and you're like, you don't need to tell me the time.
I know, but the postman went, didn't he? And the dog started barking a bonce off, and then you get sidetracked watching the Christmas tree going up, and then you get sidetracked making a quick brew, and before you know it's 5 past 2, and it's like...
So, any
Riley,
scientific
I heard
evidence?
2 questions. Curvature and axial rotation. You got any of those?
No.
What about scientific evidence of gravity?
No.
Scientific evidence.
Can't
Gravity.
vary it.
Well, given that the gravity, according to Cavendish, gravity represents 1/50 millionth of an object's mass or density, then I would suspect that there's nobody capable of manipulating that 50 millionth of an object's mass to demonstrate the attractive force between masses. That's no longer the current science, and it's currently the bending of space-time. But nonetheless, no.
Who cares? It's not bending of space-time, which is the current scientific nonsense for that sort of gravitational bullshit. So let's not worry about that. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No.
Nope.
Arwen?
No.
There is no distance to the sun. Nope.
What about evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
No. Ooh, it tickles.
Excuse me?
That question is like tickles me because it's so funny how they know the was the Earth, the center of the Earth made of, and all the layers and all that shit is just ticklish funny.
What tickles me is the people who believe in outer space. So, any evidence of gas pressure without a container?
No.
The real world.
Oh, right. We're living
Nope.
in it. So we live in a containerless, pressurized environment that doesn't have a membrane to separate us from the vacuum of space. That's the self-evident proof, is it? Oh, right. Okay. So how does that work then? Because I don't get how that doesn't defy How that doesn't apply the second law of thermodynamics, where heat will go to cold and pressure will go to non-pressure.
Well, you just have to look at the bits that you can validate and the bits that you can't. So we can definitely validate the first side of that. So we definitely have a pressurized system, and pressure definitely requires something to press upon. That's what gives it its definition. Pressure. But the other bit, we can't really validate. The outer space bit, and as you correctly point out, that violates the second law of thermodynamics. You can't press on a vacuum. You disperse into a vacuum if you're a gas pressure. But that's what they claim. It's complete nonsense. It doesn't work. But no evidence of that by globers that claim it does. Deluded that they are. Oh, what about the R value? Any evidence of Earth radius, which was assumed, of course, in that model that we don't live on?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Are we done?
That's it, we're done. Got a chat comment. You guys still kicking the flat Earth corpse? Well, no. It's the globe that's dead. It just has lots of people, parasites I would call them, attached to it as it dies. Still hoping to suck some life out of it, even though it died in 2015. But while there are those parasites sucking the living daylights out of a model that isn't the real world, we'll still be here, smacking them around with the reality that we actually live in, a perspective-based world.
Let me give a good response to that one.
Well said.
That flat Earth corpse we're stomping on, that's not actually a flat Earth corpse. That's a globe that's been stomped flat. That's what we're stomping on. It looks flat, but it was actually a globe. So yeah, we're stomping on the globe corpse, really.
No, it was never a globe.
just stomped
We were
it.
taught it was a globe, but it was never a globe.
Yeah, absolutely, Jose. The Earth was, is, and always will be, obviously and observably flat.
Nathan, I've got 2 deaths to report. Number 1, Alan B. I've had to block him on Skype. Resting in peace, Alan B. Number 2, conspiracy cats. Basically, he doesn't accept that he has to prove something. When I've asked him to prove the elevation of the mountain that he claims, because we can't validate the height, he won't do it unless what he's trying to do is blackmail us into accepting the mathematics don't work on a flat plane. Then he'll prove it. And I'm like, hang on a minute. You're the one with the assertion. You're the one that's got to prove A, what the elevation of the camera was, and B, what the elevation of the peak that you claim is, because when we check that peak, we don't get the same number. We want to know why. We want to know where you got your information from for your elevation data, because we're not seeing it. And basically, it's the effect of it. It doesn't really have any effect at this point. We're just trying to validate the claim. And we've been manipulating around, playing around with the maths and the figures and stuff. And the problem that you've got is we're doing all this without any atmospheric, because we look through an atmosphere that's got density mediums, the density gradients, that thing that they always remind us but refuse to address with regards to the gas pressure. But it's effectively a fluid, and you're looking through a fluid of varying density changes as you look up to the peak of Mount Rainier on a flat plane. Or indeed, if you're looking up to the peak on Rainier on a ball that's curving round, it's still looking up. But he's got this perception that he's not going to validate his claim because he wants us to admit or accept his demands of the maths. And I just don't agree with you. Your position is that you've made an assertion. We've asked you for proof to validate your claim, and he wants to basically blackmail us with the evidence by accepting his maths. Well, I don't accept his maths. His maths is wrong. It defies perspective. So because of his maths and the way he calculates this is in dispute, we can't really go any further. And it's down to conspiracy cats because he demands that we accept his explanation, and we don't accept his explanation. We want to do it ourselves with the correct maths, not the maths from a high school teacher that doesn't understand perspective. So we can't go any further, and I'm not going to agree to his demands. So unfortunately, conspiracy cats' claim on the mountain's got to die too, because he won't validate his claim with evidence.
Also, if he wants to just claim victory based on the fact that he won't get a concession without being in, reasonable disclosure of the data, then fine, claim a victory. But at this point, we can just claim logical fallacy. Burden of proof reversal doesn't count as evidence. Also, I'd like to highlight that this is not a nice simple proof of what is being claimed. And anybody who wants to defend it, you've been told by the person who's put it forward that it's laden with quote-unquote traps. So at this point, well, we need full disclosure, black and white, clear as crystal, not traps and games. That might be what you teachers do. I thought you just taught fact and truth. Maybe not. Maybe you like to play games and piss people around. Me, I've had enough of it. You know, you want to give us the information, give it us, we'll have a look at it. If not, sod off, claim victory, don't care, not interested. We'll point out if anybody asks that you haven't got any data to validate, and your assertion about what we should see on a flat plane is absolutely and totally incorrect, farcical in fact, because you claim infinite visibility at any distance without anything changing in size. Total nonsense. Perspective is real. So we've already debunked 50% of your assertion, your misrepresentation of a flat plane, and you won't give us the data about your actual assertion until we actually concede you've won already. Piss off. What a dick.
Yeah, and it's interesting that in 2014, not Jeremy Corbyn. Tell you what, let me just screen share. This is quite interesting because it directly applies to conspiracy flaps. Because, come on, am I still here?
Yeah. Everyone's
For some
just
reason,
on
my
mute.
Google Chrome has just stopped responding.
No, you're all good.
Is it screen sharing?
Not screen sharing, no. It's just got your swinging warrior.
Hang on. My Google Chrome's just got this spinning around disk and it's saying, I'm not responding. Right, let's cancel that off.
Who built that rubbish computer, Anthony?
No, it never does this. It's not like Ranty's.
Yeah,
Come on.
Who built it?
Me. It's not a building thing. It's something to do with Chrome.
I'm only joking. I'm just having you on.
I'm just trying to work out why it isn't responding when I'm asking it to do something. It's a bit like a baller asking for proof and they just go, sorry, I'm not responding. You'll have to give me a minute. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll if I can describe it. Oh, I can't describe it.
Google Chrome giving Anthony the hand wave dismissal.
Yeah, I think Chrome's about to crash on me. I may end up getting kicked.
Say the words, Riley. I'll be back.
Yeah, I'll be back. No, we'll have to give this one a swerve while my spinning disc decides to not spin
Or just
anymore.
detail it verbally.
Jeremy Corbyn. That's the Jeremy Hunt. No, it might be Jeremy. I can't remember the politician's name. It's Corbyn's the old guy, isn't it? Basically, what they're saying is that they need to raise the standards of teaching in the education system, because I've been doing quite a lot of reading about education recently, and they don't have a Hippocratic Oath. For those that are not aware, the Hippocratic Oath is like the allegiance or the pledge that doctors take, which basically says that they will always act in the patient's best interest. And they don't have one of them equivalents. They don't have to swear any, like, I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth kind of thing. Well, and this guy's saying that we need it because teachers need to have a raised elevation of, grandeur or respect or whatever. And it dawns on me that if they were actually to have like an equivalent to the Hippocratic Oath, conspiracy cats wouldn't be able to say it because he's not acting with intellectual honesty at all times. He's being dishonest, and on that basis, he wouldn't be able to say that honestly. And I just wanted to, I reminded him of that before, and made me feel good for like half a second, but. Yeah, he won't be able to say the Hippocratic Oath because he
would no longer be able to abuse children.
Say that again, Eric.
He'd no longer be able to abuse children's minds.
Correct.
Yeah, well put. That's what it is, isn't it? It's an abuse of the very susceptible.
If he ever listens, he should go listen to this former New York City public school teacher of the year many times, who walked away from the system because he said he could no longer abuse children. His name is John Taylor Gatto. If you're listening, Baldy Cats or whatever you're called, please spend a day, a Saturday or Sunday, and just look at this guy's words and his message, and you should cry.
Hey, Mark. Good to have you.
Can you hear me?
Can
you hear me?
We can.
Oh.
And if anybody else is unfamiliar with John Taylor Gatto, I think you should check him out. He died recently, so.
Hello, Zinda. Good to have you.
Hi. How are you?
Very well.
Zinder.
I. Damn it.
It's me.
Is it just me or did the sound just go dead?
Yeah, I can see Eric talking because of this little bar at the side, but I can't hear him.
I can't hear Eric. Is he still talking? I didn't realise. I think there's something wrong with your
No.
mic, Eric.
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Now I can hear him.
It might have been my PC acting daft as I left.
This is riveting.
Almost
Very
as
diverse
riveting as
panel and the
yesterday,
conversation.
as when you booted everybody from the show and then went for coffee. I thought that was funny.
Oh,
Arwen, I can't find, or can you send me a link for your morning show? Now I have to figure out how to get the link.
You have to show up in his chat and ask him for a link. That's a daily thing.
In Skype, you have to usually he uses Skype, right?
Can I just respond to one of the commenters? Yes, Larry. If you want to claim that Conspiracy Cats has won because he hasn't given up any information and demands we concede, that's fine by me. Yes, you can claim you won if you like.
Yeah, claim you won.
And
Good for him.
We'll just concede on the basis that it's ignorance, and rather than proving anything, smoke and mirrors are not the way to win arguments. So if you want to accept that that's a victory.
Furthermore, what I will do is if anybody wants proof of the globe, I'll send them that way so that they are left in no doubt that they have not been proven the globe and have no idea what's being claimed. It's shrouded in traps, and if that's what you want as your best globe proof, man, wicked, awesome.
So basically, Laurie finds joy in the idea that somebody who abuses children's minds has won. Oh, that's good. Says a lot about you, Laurie.
Yeah. No, I want that. Good for you.
It's not just children's minds.
Yes.
Can you imagine the reaction if, let's say, Ranty presents a still of a footage and he doesn't give any information on I mean, he does, it is the opposite, right? So Ranty doesn't want to present evidence until the ballers accept the match or something like that. You think that shit is going to slide? No.
Yeah, what I noticed with Ranty's work is that anything that he puts out, the ballers claim ownership of it and say, that proves globe, well done, Ranty. And I'm like, have you actually watched the video and listened to what he says about what he's showing? Because it's not proving globe. It's proving that there's atmospheric stuff going on that doesn't support either model, but we need to be aware of these atmospheric things. And that's not proving either model. He's not making the point about it proves globe or not, usually. Sometimes he does, but these guys are claiming ownership on virtually every video, and it's like, this is ridiculous. How dishonest are you guys?
They're deluding themselves, Anthony. Leave them to it. That's my point. If you want to kid yourself that you've proved something when you haven't, then fine. That's good by you. You know, when Ranty's pointing out how a boat rises and falls, it's not going further and less behind the curve of the Earth. There's the deck rising and falling with the waves, and it's sat in the diffraction limit. And you can see the effects happening and the mirage appearing below it more and less as it bobs up and down. And it's not getting more and less obscured by Earth curve. Now, they will take that and go, boat going behind the curve. And you go, what? Huh? Okay. If you want to see it that way, I can't stop you in your belief. You know, we're quantifying it. You want to believe it's Earth curve. I'm not going to stop anybody believing stuff like this. If you want to believe Conspiracy Cats has proven something with his trap-laden nonsense with no information being given out, fine. Believe that all you like. At this point, I'm out.
The worst thing is, though, that they don't realise or accept that it's a belief. I mean, Alan B, for example, doesn't accept that the belief that gravity is a belief. There is no evidence for gravity. And the evidence that is there is basically what I would describe as Cavendish trolling ball earthers, because he admits that the value attributed to gravity on any mass is 1/50 millionth of its mass. Well, how can that ever be credited as gravity? It can't, because it's 50 millionth. But people don't even accept that that is a belief, because they're happy to accept or believe the convenient lie. And it's like, it's still a belief. It's not.
Yeah, Larry's in the chat. Of course, gravity is not a belief. It's reality. There's no scientific evidence of gravity, Laurie. None.
This is the problem with Laurie. If we were to challenge him to join and share with us his views on the shape of the Earth, he would say that we're not arguing it properly because we don't have blah blah blah, and he'll completely ignore the fact that he's got no evidence for gravity. But he'll tell everybody that gravity is, you know, self-evident kind of nonsense, and it's like
good. It's useful because
the reason why we're on this side of the fence, mate.
He literally is the purveyor of the reification fallacy. We have no beliefs and no model, just reality. That's what Larry has just stated in the chat. Now, Laurie, the model's called the heliocentric model. Your belief is in the assumption that Earth has a radius, and there are many subsequent beliefs that go alongside that, like the belief we discussed with you the other day, the belief that the assumption that Earth has a radius is extrapolated into Venus, a light in the sky, also having the same spherical radius as Earth. That, my friend, is a belief in a model. So when you say we have no beliefs, you believe in R. You believe in Venus being the same R as the R you assumed Earth was. And your model is called the heliocentric model. So in that short sentence, you have demonstrated quite admirably just how big of a zealot you actually are. Hey Larry, so good to have you.
Whoa, he has a face. Oh my god.
Yes, I have a face.
Poor
Wow.
Lowry. Poor Lowry. Poor Lowry.
Well, if you're gonna go for bullshit like that again, well, that just proves you're the poor ones.
So you don't have a belief. Let's start there.
If you do not realize I was mirroring your silly rhetorics, because you guys claim you don't have a model and you don't have beliefs, you don't have arguments, you just have reality. I was just mirroring your own way of your own rhetorical tricks.
I see.
Are
Well,
you
when
P.
we
If
Mars?
you do not realize that,
Are
then
you
you're
Mars's?
hold on.
You're
So
not
when
really
we say
fully
that,
there.
when we say
Can I
that,
answer that? Hang on. Can I
well, when we
answer
say that,
that?
it's true.
Sure
I'll
you
give you
can.
Every single time we try to present this our science, they always fall back on their science. So we're forced to use your own science and your own words against you. But as far as that goes, if you want models, the best model, does anybody remember the Bill Nye the Science Guy when he shows how he actually has a model of a boat going over a curve? It's like it's got the Masonic cross on the back.
Is it the one where it's going through like wax or something on the tape?
No, come
Yeah,
on.
that one,
Everybody
but
now.
if you
Everybody
look
knows
at
the
that
best
picture-
models are either
No, but look at that
slutty
picture.
or smart.
No, but look at that picture. What I'm saying is that if there's a curve, like way out in the distance for the boat to drop, but from on the X and Y axis, it's flat as a pancake. How does that describe a ball? If there's a curve that far out in his own model, that the boat disappeared.
Well,
Hold on,
right.
Anthony. Sorry, just because Laurie's got to go in a moment. So I'll give you an example of where I can say what you claim is a nonsense that you can repeat back, although it's not true. So on screen now, we have the Isle of Man. And there's a little lighthouse you can probably see in the centre of the frame called Macord Lighthouse. Now, I can just say that, and that is the end of my sentence. And as a flat earther, there is no further explanation required other than to tell people what's on screen that we can see. Now, Larry, this picture on screen is a very big problem that will need reifying by a globehead and explaining away with a begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking curve calculator that will have a belief in a radius value when you explain why we can see a lighthouse that should not be there. So, we don't need to give any explanation. Earth is obviously and observably flat, and I can just point out a lighthouse in the distance and do nothing. No explanation whatsoever is required. You, on the other hand, have to go to a begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking curve calculator to explain why we see something that we shouldn't see.
So you basically have to assume it's flat then?
Mark, can you just let him respond? He's got to go soon. Sorry.
So you basically have to assume it's flat then?
No,
based
I
on
just
the
see it.
information.
Sorry, I'm not assuming anything. I see it. There it is.
Of course you are assuming things.
Straw man.
Sorry, Larry.
It's not a straw man when it's what you're doing.
I haven't assumed anything. I've just said there's a lighthouse.
You are assuming that there is nothing else we need to see or we need to take into account, and that's not true.
No.
Sorry, so hold on. Why am I being interrupted? Immediately. Right, Larry, I don't need to assume why I should or shouldn't see it. I do see it. There it is. And I can just say, there's Mackled Lighthouse. That's the end of my explanation. There is Mackled Lighthouse. End of explanation. No assumptions needed.
You have to assume that what you are seeing is correct, and it's not. There is nothing you need to take into account, and you have to take things into account.
So what do you mean correct?
For example, well,
hold on. I've got to address your first point. I've got to address your first point. Larry, don't scattergun me. Your first point, I've got to assume whether or not it's correct. It's a photo. What do you mean if it's correct? It's a photo. There's no incorrectness about it.
He's referring to.
Do you know how illusions work? Can we always trust what our eyes see?
Sorry. So you're hold on. Can I answer or not?
Let me make a point.
You're asking a question. Why would I assume?
Let me make a point.
Why would I
I'm
have
talking
to?
here.
You're asking a question, and now you're rumpusing me. I'm going to answer you. Why do I have to assume?
He's rumpusing me.
You've asked a question, and now I'm answering. You don't get to throw out rhetorical questions here.
I was giving an answer.
Don't give me an answer to your question. I'm going to have to shut you up soon, Larry. You're rumpusing. You've asked a question. If you don't want an answer, go and ask yourself questions somewhere else. If you do want an answer, then don't ask. If you don't want an answer, don't ask a question here. If you do, you'll get it. Don't rumpus me. Why do I have to assume that this is somehow an illusion? It's there. It's a picture. Same as if I
didn't say... This picture was taken from 300 meters in the air.
Well,
no,
and that's the story
Mark, shut up.
that's going
no, it
on
wasn't. Mark, shut up. No, it was not. Shut up.
I know it wasn't.
Well, then shut up.
Saying.
Mark, shut up or I'll have to kick you out like yesterday. I'm in the middle of a conversation. You've thrown out a random incorrect fact. Just keep your pie hole shut. You've got nothing to offer. That's incorrect. It wasn't taken for 300 feet in the air.
Thanks, Nathan. Because that was actually a strawman fallacy. You're throwing strawman at me. So thanks for sticking up with some logical truth here, Nathan.
Sorry, I don't have to assume there's anything wrong with this picture. It's a picture. There it is, Mackled Lighthouse, checked and confirmed. No assumptions. There's Mackled Lighthouse. Am I wrong in that statement? Do I have to assume it's an illusion?
So you just trust your
yes
eyes?
Or no?
Try
yes or no, Lauren?
No, I don't trust
Try being silent for a moment.
Yeah, Arwin.
So do you trust your eyes always? They tell you the truth exactly as it is, and they tell you 100% of what is going on. For example, can you, by looking at a table, can you know if there is atoms within the table? Yes
so
or
we're
no?
looking at a lighthouse, and we have confirmed that it is the lighthouse I have said.
If you look at the table, can you tell if there are atoms?
Rumpusing again, aren't you,
atoms
Larry?
Are real.
Larry, you're rumpusing again.
Can your eyes tell
you asked a question, now you're going to shut up. That's how a conversation works.
I am asking you a question here.
Yeah, can we see atoms in a table? I'll shut you up, you rumpusing little twat. Yes, I heard your question.
By looking at your eye, with your eyes.
I'm looking at a lighthouse, not trying to establish if there are atoms.
I am asking you a question. Can you tell by looking with your eyes if atoms are real?
We're not looking at atoms. We're not looking at tables. We're looking at a lighthouse. And that lighthouse is Mackled Lighthouse. Confirmed. There is no statement of incorrect facts. It is checked. It is correct.
Can you know?
Shut up! Shut up!
Your...
Shut up, you ignorant man. I can trust my... Shut up! Shut up! I'm answering you. I can trust my eyes. It is Mackled Lighthouse. No further confirmation required. I can just state fact. It is Mackled Lighthouse. No further explanation is required. Immediately, Larry requires me to assume that I'm not seeing it. That it's not really there. That it's an illusion. That reason that he must assume I'm wrong in what I see is because he can go to a model and say it isn't there but is there, i.e. an illusion. I, as a flat earther, don't need to assume that this is a ghost, an apparition, a slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena. I can just say, as a flat earther, Mackled Lighthouse. And anybody can check it and it's correct. The problem is only for globe heads. We have no issue. We don't need an explanation. This is a flat earth proof. And this is what we do when we say the earth is flat. We give something that is so simple and so concise that we can absolutely devastate an idiot zealot like Larry. I need not explain why I see Mackled Lighthouse. I see it because it is there. There is absolutely no requirement for me to explain that. In the same way as if I see a tree 5 yards from me, I don't need to explain it. If I see the same tree at 50 yards, I don't need to explain it. And if I see that same tree at 50 miles, I do not need to explain it. The Earth is obviously and observably flat. Now, that's a big problem if you believe a globe, because you shouldn't see it in your reification fallacy model. So you need to start doing some explaining. Me, I don't. That's a flat Earth proof. In contrast to Conspiracy Cats, with his trap-laden, convoluted nonsense that he won't release data for. I don't need to release any data to say Mackled Lighthouse. There it is. It's on screen. End of explanation for a flat earther. You guys need to go into all sorts of mathematical nonsense to explain why we see something that you shouldn't see in your reification world of globe. Not a problem for me. Big problem for you. And like all of the globe proofs, they're shrouded in obscurity and deceit and withholding information. That's what Conspiracy Cats proof is. So if you want globe proof, go to Conspiracy Cats and see if you can figure out how it proves a globe. If you want flat earth proof, there's Mackled Lighthouse. Zero, nada, no explanation needed for a flat earther. Bang, there it is, in your face. The earth is obviously and observably flat.
Boom. Very well said, Nathan. Very well said.
I'm not saying, Nathan, that I disagree with you, but on Red's Rhetoric shows and all the other places, they say that this photo got doctored 9 ways from Sunday.
We've got
They can say whatever they want.
Yes,
Got-
and
hold on,
Randy
let me
has
just address
an
that.
interactive CGI studio.
Hold on, let me just address it.
Which photo?
There's two different
Whatever
people
the
who've
fact
captured
is,
the exact same image on 2 different cameras on 3, 4, 5 different dates. It's definitely not CGI. Easy to replicate. Anybody could go out and get this with a P900.
Hang on, are you talking about the Mackled Lighthouse photo?
Yeah, amazingly, Mark's claiming that Red's Rhetoric thinks this is CGI, even though it's been replicated on countless occasions.
No, I said
It was taken on a video.
Yeah,
300 feet up in the air, according to Red. 120 meters or something like that.
I tell you what, like Conspiracy Cats then, Red's Rhetoric, if you're watching this, or Red's Rhetoric fans, you can take that as a victory. Take it as a victory, right?
Yeah.
It's CGI. You've won. Go in peace, in R you trust, especially Red. I'm sure he still hasn't got over the last rape with an R value. Is it still hurting, Red? You gonna hold it up? Covered in the blood of your anus.
I don't think Reds realizes it was taken from a video, and I'm not skilled in to be able to manipulate video imagery on a P900, but you know.
Tell him to get in here, Red's Rhetoric, so we can bend you
I
over
watched
as you
a
try and
video
explain
a
it.
while ago where they tried to show how
Hey, Alan.
they
Hello.
and basically I told that these towers can't be seen or something like that because of distance. They showed curve, and I said you can clearly see how you pointed your camera down. The response was, who cares if I point the camera up or down to take a picture? These are the people that you're basically arguing with that can be snapped back into it's a globe because their first grade teacher slapped them across the face to you.
It doesn't. Let me do a quick. Let me get 30 seconds here. It's
ahead.
easier than that. Let's say I'm taking footage in the little spot I take footage, and a family come in, and the little old lady like, "What are you doing, young man?" I say, "I'm taking footage. Can I see?" And I move my viewfinder, and she looked like, "Whoa, what are those little dots?" I said, "Those are houses in the other side, like 10, 15 miles away." She's like, "Oh, cool, I see them." And then the little boy, I want to see. Oh, I see the boats, I see the houses. And then the old man come from behind. You utter moron. You don't know what you're looking at. You have to do the math and take everything in consideration. Those are the rumpuses and the lorries and the ballers, right?
Can you imagine if that did actually happen that way, though? It happens here, obviously, but not in the real world. Not when people can
Right,
actually
I know,
see it.
right? but that's what they want us to believe, that's reality. That shit doesn't happen. If I show footage to anybody, if anybody's seeing somebody taking footage, just see it and take a look and say like, oh, I see the lighthouse, I see the boats, I see the houses. But if one of these ballers are gonna go and approach somebody taking footage, Are they gonna go, you utter moron, you don't know what you're looking at, you gotta do the math and take all this shit in consideration? No. We just see things. That's it, period.
I'm good, Alan. Thanks. Right, let's do some shout outs. Shout out to Mark Taylor, Gassy Juice, Secret Asian Man. Good to have you all. Jufix and Chill, nice to see you. Donnie Johnson, thanks for being here. Gleam, massive shout out to you, my friend. Really loved your work on Miles Davis's observation. Made it onto the show yesterday. Good to have you. Fact Use, nice to see you. Cigar Face, hey, good to have you.
Have I missed something?
No?
What are we giving shout outs for?
Well, a small pause. Why not? Appreciation of the people who make the show possible.
Oh, right, okay. I just thought that I'd missed something and I should have been speaking when I was off the mic.
No. David Reed, good to have you.
I wanted to say
Lee
something,
Ralph?
if I may.
Go ahead.
Right, about Laurie. Yeah, you were ranting on pretty cool, so I couldn't interrupt that. But I thought it was pretty remarkable that he was basically trying to suggest that you can't trust what you're seeing because you can't confirm molecules and atoms to exist visually.
Yeah, I was going to pick him up on
That's like, that was amazing.
So how do you confirm
because
that, then?
that too is, that's an issue. It's like, because this presuppositional reasoning system, because you can't test it, then why should you trust your eyes? That's basically
That's the reason why the stars are an issue.
ridiculous.
He was
I agree,
actually trying to demand that we have to, when we see something, that we have to insert presuppositions. I mean, why not the presupposition of how to make al dente pasta? I mean, just keep throwing them in there.
Well, it depends on...
Throw the tea in there. Yeah, boiling point of pasta. That's another one.
Well, it depends on the distance. I did this with P. Mars. So it's like, okay, there's a tree in front of me. Is that tree real? Do I need to suddenly justify whether or not I can see it? No. Concrete noun. Just a tree. Tree. And then you look at it, you point at it and go tree. Okay, so now you look at a boat. It's moored. It's not anywhere. It's just right next to the shore. And you point at it, it might be 200 yards away, and you go boat. Do you need to justify that you're looking and pointing at a boat? No, you just look at it pointing at a boat. Then you look at an island, and you go, Isle of Man. Oh, suddenly that's a massive problem. What do you mean? I've got to just justify whether or not I can see it or not. Oh, because it's a distance beyond which your ball shouldn't have it visible. So suddenly we need to worry about whether or not we can see. Oh, we don't do that as flat earthers. No need. We've got the simplest explanation. Like with the tree and like with the boat. We go, Isle of Man. And that's the end of our explanation because one is not required.
Yeah. If you're going to question whether or not it's a mirage, you're going to have to produce some evidence that proves that it is actually a mirage, not because it's behind the horizon on your ball model. That's not proof that it's a mirage. You'd have to prove intangibility. Now, we see the thing that's tangible, and we know that it is like tangible, so we don't really have to prove anything on that one, but you would have to prove that it's intangible. How would you do that?
They show him a picture of the ISS.
Yeah, right. They got black holes and they got freaking black matter, bro.
Anytime you need answers, like really good answers as to why everything you say will never be believed by a ballhead because it's ingrained into them, just look at any ISS live feed or whatever they tell you there.
Genuine people listen. We got Zinder here that listens.
Listen, it's more than that. It's been ingrained into them. Everybody here has had this religion ingrained to them, into their heads. Some of us have been able to throw it away. Some people haven't and will not.
You also have to remember you're dealing with a society that says you can talk about this on YouTube all you want, but you say it in front of a television camera,
Ooh.
and your contract is up.
Yep.
You know, and then they'll say, did you accidentally go and basically leverage your name and this contract against that house, that car, all that wife's jewelry? Because you say that on camera. And we don't know how you're paying for all that stuff.
Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye.
Yeah, that's about it. So what does the average person do? You know, they'll go out and say, of course, that picture of the Isle of Man is completely doctored. And yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
perfect
you can go and take
example,
it for
if
yourself.
Baldy Cat is really a teacher in the public school system, he could never be a flat earther because he'd be rejected in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's correct.
And it's good to question things from either side, but the wrong part is to push a narrative with bullshit assertions, just regurgitating shit that you learned, and you got no idea, and you don't know nothing about it.
Well, remember, teachers are kept on a very tight leash. It's not like,
Of course they are.
see, it's not like you have a job that paid you $1 million a year, and then afterwards you could pretty much do and say whatever you want. Right off the bat, with teachers, they're not paid very much.
No.
They're not going to run very far.
I had an aunt that was fired because she actually taught too well, and then when the students progressed to the next grade, the teacher had nothing to teach them in her silly mind. That's how pathetic most teachers are. Sorry to say it, but yeah, they're shoveling curriculum. They're not.
That's exactly what they're shoveling curriculum. And when there's a problem in the curriculum that doesn't state that this issue is contentious and there are valid, legitimate, opposing views, evidence, and beliefs that don't support the narrative, children don't get told that this shit's serious, that people don't accept that we live on a sphere and there is no evidence for gravity. Children believe that there is evidence for gravity, which is the reason why we've all got this thing that Alan has, which is this ignorance to the issue.
Evidence against the ball or to show the ball. Remember?
Say again?
There's always a ton of evidence to show there's a ball. That's the answer.
Ton of evidence, but that doesn't mean there is a ton of evidence.
That's the answer that you always get.
Well, you're in the U.S., I assume. There's a ton of evidence that we're supposed to pay income tax. Supposedly, I mean, there's a huge book, yet it's unconstitutional. But so, yeah, lies, tons of evidence.
Actually, England
Let's
has the
stick
same
to
deal.
flat Earth. You know?
Oh, Nick, you be quiet, Arwen, with your little socialist mouth.
Sorry?
I said you be quiet. I'm making a correlation between things that are related.
Philosophy debate, what?
Yeah, the ball needs a ton of evidence and a ton of books.
Shout out to the trolls in the chat that come in to watch the show and type in not to watch the show. So thank you. Come again.
Come again.
Yeah, hence the shout outs earlier. Brian Jefferson, good to see you. Jose, you're in the show. David Reed, good to have you. Deefan Nasser, thanks for being here. Brandon Cook, nice to see you. Lee Redpath, nice to have you here. Wint James, nice to see you. Pete Shea, thanks for being here.
I tell you what we should do, Nathan. Given that it's a show to express your views on the shape of the Earth, rather than challenging any of the ballers that we obviously realise that they've not got a lot of evidence to support their belief, but also won't admit that it's actually a belief, why don't we appeal to the flat earthers to come on and ask if they've got any questions about things that they're not sure about? Perhaps asking questions would be a way to stimulate conversation, because it's a bit of an echo chamber, Nathan, even though there's an open door for everybody. Surely there's got to be flat earthers out there that are on their journey that need to ask questions.
That's what my show is for.
Even if we get
Can you
bored,
type
flat
what
earthers.
your show is, or are you allowed to give clues where your show is?
What? Talking to me?
Mark hasn't clicked yet when is the cue for him to talk. I'm not talking.
Were you talking to me?
Yes, Arvin.
I
don't know
barely hear what you're saying. You're mumbling.
Oh,
Can you say again?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I couldn't.
Sorry, I don't know. Like, it's a new microphone, so I don't know if you can hear me comfortably now or not.
Just make sure you articulate properly, please.
Oh, am I articulating okay now?
Are you Chocolate's older brother? You sound a lot like Chocolate.
James, twin brother.
Yeah, James.
Jimbo.
Eric.
So what was your question?
On Discord?
This guy does not sound like me, bro.
You got low.
I'm listening. I'm at work, but I'm listening, dude. Relax.
Anyways, Arvin,
Yeah, I'll second that. It doesn't sound
what
like
is the address for your show?
No, the tones. You talk different speech patterns, but you got like the same deep tone. That's what I'm saying. To me, I don't know. It's just how it sounds to me. No offense, Chocolate. I don't know.
Disagree.
Talk about that later.
Oh, yeah, you sound-
Totally
you sound-
different articulation. Completely
You
different.
sound like someone else. You should be offended.
He could do one of those storytelling jobs where he reads stories to children to be asleep in 10 seconds. I'm only joking, I'm winding you up.
I would like
So
to
what
hear Mark.
was your question?
I would like to hear Mark Taylor talk, but he got to take the.
Oh,
Bible
sorry, I've
from
got
his
to
mouth.
interrupt. So, literally, Conspiracy Cats is in the channel, shilling for himself. So, GCSE and A-level science. So, Conspiracy Cats just destroyed Ranty and Nathan. That's you,
so.
Conspiracy Cats. That's your own channel.
So he's promoting his own channel with his own channel.
Yeah. My God. This guy
Is it
knows no
actually him? Just
shame.
check the
Well, wouldn't you want to do that on your own channel?
check that it is actually him. It's not a sock account.
Oh, by the way, Nathan, I had
It's him.
a
He
small
just said
point.
thanks for the advert. Yeah. It's the highest form of compliment, that is. Ripping me off. Thank you so much for the compliment.
Hey, Nathan, did you get a notification from YouTube as well this morning that they,
Unsubscribing.
that they're unsubscribing fake accounts
Yeah.
in 2 days, like yesterday and
Oh,
today?
the Purge. Yeah, the Purge isn't new.
No, but have you noticed any? I haven't noticed any drops.
Well, if you've got no fake subs, you've got absolutely nothing to concern yourself about.
I got a minute. So you're telling me that Simon Dan's going to go down to about 1,000 subs?
Well,
maybe,
we might find out.
well, maybe, or slowly, or look.
it entirely
Even we
depends.
can have fake accounts, not by our own knowing.
Maybe
So-
not. I'll explain why. The last time I looked at the Purge and the speculation about the algorithm, because YouTube don't release this information. Nobody knows the algorithm, but everybody knows there's a Purge. So that's why people who have got Alpha Brain don't fake their accounts. But last time I checked, the speculation was it went on the activity. So if you've just started faking your channel, then there's a good chance that you've got a high level of activity from all the people who've just subscribed. So no, it's going to take into account people who are inactive, not watching, not participating in your channel. So no, it doesn't necessarily mean that suddenly Simon Dan will be wiped out down to whatever he may have as legitimate subscribers, which may still be a substantial amount, just pure on purely what's the word? You know, there's an effect of people seeing popularity and go, oh, I'll have a piece of that just anyway. So in other words, by faking it, you will obviously build your channel to a certain degree anyway. But I don't think that'll be the case. It's done it too recently. But in time, absolutely, that will kick in eventually, unless you continually, if you are buying, I'm speculating, I don't know. But if you were, eventually those accounts become inactive because you stop paying for them. I've seen it time and time again. You get people who'll go on and on about how YouTube are suddenly doing something dodgy because they've lost 1,000 subscribers, and you go, no, that'll be the 1,000 subscribers you faked right at the beginning of your YouTube career so that you looked popular amongst people who had actually put the effort in to build up 1,000 subscribers on their channel. People like, I assume, I don't know, everybody on the panel who's got an account. None of us are faking our channels, so we've got nothing to concern ourselves with. But the people who do, well, you do, because YouTube get their algorithms in line better and better and better every time they do a purge, because they don't want fake subs. They want real subs. So that's why last time, I can't remember which big YouTubers fell victim to it, but certainly people like PewDiePie and various others that were big name accounts, and what it was attributed to when they lost shitloads of subscribers through the purge was that literally people who are interested to such an extent about the trends of these big YouTubers will actually pay, not the person who's got the account, but random people who are watching them will pay for them to have subscribers subscribe to their favourite YouTuber so they can watch the analytics grow. Now, when I heard that for the first time, I was like, no way anybody's going to fake subs on someone else's behalf. But apparently, that is actually the case. People track and are obsessed with, Social Blade. People are obsessed with it. Me, I couldn't give a crap. Occasionally I'll glance at it. Occasionally people will send me links to some random subscriber and some really weird activity on their account. And to be honest, I've kind of lost interest. It seems like an obvious pattern. But can you prove it? Well, generally no. You can prove that it is easy to fake subs and the methods and means of doing so. But does that mean you've proved somebody's faking them? No. But generally speaking, in time, if you're a fake, it always comes to the surface in the end.
How long does it take for the effects of the purge to happen?
As I say, I have no idea how the YouTube algorithm works, and neither does anybody.
So keep your eye on Simon Dan and watch for him dropping down to about 10,000, 3,000, 2,000.
Yeah, but the other aspect to that, Nathan, is that this purge may actually be a form of censorship to just delete your subscribers because they don't like your content.
Yeah, that's also interesting because that is also the way it could be interpreted. It could be that they're trying to break down the walls of communication between people, genuine people within Flat Earth, but describing it as a purge of fake subs.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'm very...
No, I don't think that's the case. So in the past, when I've had people explain that they've been unsubscribed to a particular YouTuber and how shocking, and they've had to go back and resubscribe because a purge has happened, and then you grill them on their actual viewing habits, and they haven't watched them for a while, and you go, well, that's what they're tracking. You just, to the algorithm at that particular time, look like somebody who's an inactive user, so you get scrubbed. And then when you like, oh, I was going to watch Eric Debay and I haven't watched him, for the sake of argument, and then you realise you're unsubscribed to them, but it's normally the case that that's perfectly in line with whatever their algorithm would have taken into account. In other words, if you're not watching, they'll unsubscribe you in favour of putting videos on your subscription feed that you may actually watch because you have actually watched them. Mercury Messenger says Nathan Oakley has 5k fake subs. I have 0 fake subs. There is only one direction the money is going to be travelling from: YouTube. I am here to make money. I am absolutely never going to buy subs.
Me neither. I want the real thing.
I've also heard that...
Working on it for so long.
Has anyone else heard that they're going to kill Hangouts?
What?
No.
They occasionally hint at that. I've heard that several times in the last 2 or 3 years.
Oh, really? You've heard it over here? Oh, I've just been hearing it more recently.
Yeah, last time I heard it, it was actually in relation to the what we call the back chat. It used to just be called Hangouts, I think, and that's like the social media platform, which is intrinsically linked to the Hangouts on air. But yeah, there was like some sort of not collaboration. What's the word? Merging a few months back, maybe even a year now, with Hangouts because they were going to get rid of that completely, but they haven't.
Good for them. Otherwise, I think stocks would have tanked. It's a big part of YouTube, isn't it?
Just want to make a quick shout out to all 42 of my subscribers, because I got 42 and I'm very proud of them, because I don't even make content. So thank you very much, and I know they're genuine. So good looking out.
42 is the answer to everything, so I think you should keep 42 subscriber.
I keep hearing that, and it's because I'm 42 years old. Like I've been told that a few times, and I find that to be funny. They answered everything.
And what's funny too? What's funny too is that 420 is.
Exactly. Right.
It's 10 times the answer to everything.
Yeah. All right.
You Arwin, you actually stumbled onto something there, because it is Satanists do try to get their symbology in.
What?
Satanists.
Oh,
try
really?
to get all 42 is a satanic symbol of everything.
Why?
I don't get it too. You.
Because it adds up. Because it adds up. Let's see. It adds up to it. Let's see. First of all, you got the basics. It adds up to 6.
Oh.
and then there's
Wow.
there's ways of getting 666.
On that slightly sarcastic tone coming from the other panel members, I think I'll round out for a short break. So with that, I will say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible, and of course a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing the show. If you hated it, then smash the dislike button, then smash it again. But if you liked it, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!